Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I have a package to open. I get boxes that look just like this kind of a lot, because this is from Rivers Edge Cutlery, and they are one of my favorites. I say it every time that I order from them, that I get something from them. They're just awesome dudes. I've been on a little bit of a journey for a while with OTF Microtechs. I've tried the Ultratech. I've tried the Combat Troodon. I've tried the Dirac Delta. I have this Combat Troodon right now, which is the crazy bounty hunter version of it. And this thing is not without flaw. It is really, really difficult. I can't do it. It's really difficult to disengage with my thumb. But I've been on this journey to try to see if there is a Microtech OTF that isn't just exciting for a little bit like all OTFs are, but is one that I vibe with enough and I like enough to keep long term. Because there's this pattern where I keep getting OTFs and they're really exciting because they are. There's something really, really fun about an OTF, and Microtech makes really cool ones, and like there's a thing that happens to my psyche where I want them, right? But then it wears off pretty quick once I've got it, and it's like not that fun to use. We'll get a little bit deeper into that. Maybe I'll talk about it in this video. Anyways, there's a model that I haven't tried yet because I've got a UTX 70 here. I've held and like handled pretty extensively the UTX 85. I've had the Ultratech. I've had the Combat Troodon, but this is the Troodon. I've also had the Micro or Mini Troodon, whatever it's called. I had those alone from Everyday Minimalist. This is the Troodon, the regular size Troodon. So the Combat Troodon is a way bigger version of the Troodon, and then the Mini Troodon is the littler version of this, and that thing is like laughably small. It's a tiny knife. But I've never even handled a regular Troodon. I feel like the Combat Troodon is way more popular. Probably just because if you're getting an OTF, why not go crazy? I think is the way a lot of people think about it. But this thing is massive and crazy. So I wanted to try a regular Troodon because it's a size that's more reasonable than this, but it's not tiny like the little ones. And it's, I don't know, it's just different. The way that it's a little bit wider than the Ultratech platform means that the blade grinds have a little more space to get a little bit thinner down behind the edge. This one's a double-edged one, so I'm not expecting it to be a slicey little thing. I don't need it to be. I have plenty of knives that slice really well, so I don't need this to be a slicer. What a perfect size box, by the way, for this. It's exactly the right dimension. That's awesome. Yeah, so we'll see. Oh, I don't think I have one of these yet. That's a new Rivers Edge Cutlery sticker, I think. Or maybe it's just one I haven't gotten yet. I have a lot of their stickers at this point. All right. Oh, sweet. There's more. So now I've got 3 colors of this from my most recent 3 orders from Rivers Edge Cutlery. I've got blue and orange already. These are Band-Aid dispensers, and they have Band-Aids in them, which I think is awesome. Luckily, I don't go through that many Band-Aids, but they're good to have. I feel like my wife actually goes through more Band-Aids than I do. She's more accident prone. Oh, sweet. They did holographic stickers, too. Look at these. So I got even more stickers. Those are rad. I love holographic stickers. I feel like I never really gave them that much of a shot, and then I did these holographic ones, and now I'm like, it's kind of rad. That's dope. So, lots of stickers from Rivers Edge Cutlery. Again, they're the best. If you haven't heard me rave about Rivers Edge Cutlery, then you probably just haven't watched very many of my videos. They're my favorite retailer. I use them all the time. They're fantastic. Alright, little product manual in there. And then, yeah, this is way smaller. This is even smaller than, frankly, I was expecting it to be. We're going to put it side by side with the Combat Troodon. But this feels like a pretty reasonable size knife to me. Come on. Yeah, I like that Microtech says that they do caution sharp edge and that they inspect by, and they put their initials. Although if I'm being honest, in my experience, not to throw shade, some Microtechs that I've gotten out of the box have been very sharp. I wouldn't say, however, that I consider them to be like the pinnacle of sharpness from factory. That's another thing we can talk about more another time. But this is a pretty cool size. I think it's about the size of the UTX 85, but again, it's a little bit wider this way, like across here, than the Ultratech series is. This feels pretty cool. Let's see how the action is. Oh yeah, and that's the way it should be. Take that Combat Troodon. This is easy to engage and disengage. That feels really good. All right, I'm liking the size of this. Thick behind the edge. Oh, the edge is actually pretty dang sharp. Not the sharpest I've ever felt on a knife from factory, but that's a good edge. I like that. I think that blade finish looks pretty cool. This one is the DLC, so it's got like satin flats, and then there's that fuller with like holes through it, if you can see that. Pretty wild. I think it looks cool. I'm a sucker for OD green. I think OD green with black looks especially cool. It's got the black clip, black glass breaker, which is another thing we need to talk about. I hate glass breakers. Every last one of them. I wish they were dead. Hate them. So I ordered these from eBay. If you watch my Combat Troodon unboxing, you'll see that I unboxed these at the same time. These are replacement screws that take the place of the glass breaker. So I might actually, let me pause this real quick, and in a minute, I'll pause this. I'll grab my, I have a really crappy, like, Black & Decker power drill, but it's got, like, the chuck thing that holds bits, and a lot of people say that works great. So I'm going to use some, like, deerskin chamois to protect it, and then I'll pull it off, and we'll try throwing the not glass breaker on the end of here, because one of my complaints about the glass breaker is I think a dagger grind double-edged blade should be very competent in a reverse grip. When I use a reverse grip, I want to put my thumb back here. That's important to me. I feel like it makes me less prone to slipping down the knife if I hit something harder than I intended to, and it's just comfortable. It's a good way to get more grip and a better purchase on the knife. I can kind of put my finger just kind of on the clip next to the thing, but that's easy to slip off of. I want to be able to put my finger on the butt of this knife, and glass breakers ruin that. That's a big part of why I don't like them, among other things. But we're going to try swapping that. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. I like this a lot in terms of action. I like how kind of slim it feels. I bet this is going to carry really well. The clip, if it didn't have the glass breaker, would be excellently deep carry. You look at how far back that comes. Obviously, the glass breaker is what sticks out of your pocket at that point, but the size difference is wild. Look how huge the Combat Troodon looks in comparison. That is a striking contrast, in my opinion. It's a big size difference. And then let's look at the blade length difference. So open, I mean, even if I line them up like that, come on, it's pretty significant. One is a big boy and one is the little boy. But this feels like a reasonably small OTF to me. Like the mini Troodon or micro Troodon, whatever they called it. I called it the Chodon. That one was like too small, functionality speaking. Like it's just, it could cut things as like a little fifth pocket knife. I ended up being more impressed with it than I thought I was going to be. But I don't find knives that small with that little of a handle to generally be very good to actually use. This feels like a knife that if I needed to do a cutting task with, I could. And I will be doing, spoiler alert, a comparison video between this and an out the side manual or automatic. I haven't decided yet what knife I'll pit it up against, but I'm going to be doing a cut test comparison with this one and another knife, because in, I think it was my Dirac Delta full review, I made the point that blade geometry matters, and a double-edged knife with a relatively thin profile It means you have a very thick behind the edge grind. And that, scientifically speaking, I would say inarguably, is inferior for cutting tasks that are slicing. What this blade is designed to do is to pierce things. This is a thrusting weapon. This is not designed to be excellent at cutting material, whether it be cordage, whether it be cardboard, whether it be rubber tubing, whatever it is that people are cutting with knives. If it's a pass-through cut, this is inferior. It's not designed to be a slicer. It's designed to be a stabber, right? So I'm going to pick a knife from my collection that I actually carry and use regularly, maybe even just like a PM2 or a Para 3 or something that is a good cutter that I use and carry because it's good at cutting. And I'm going to do a comparison because somebody in the comments, I'm not usually like a get riled up over the comments thing, and it wasn't offensive to me, but this guy kept coming back. One guy commented, he's like, I'm a first responder. I've been using double-edged OTFs on duty for, I don't know, some long period of time. And he's like, they're excellent. They do everything I need them to do. To me, it's the best choice. And I didn't even respond to it because I don't like, no, it's not. If you like it, that's fine. But no, it's not. And then this other guy responds, like backing him up and like chimes in. And he's like, yeah, you really shouldn't say that they're less good at cutting, blah, blah, blah. I'll go over it when I do the comparison. But we went back and forth. Like he must have responded over 5 times and was just being difficult about it. And saying I was trying to sound and act smart by bringing up edge geometry like it mattered. But that's all that matters for cutting. Like if both knives have a sharp edge, they're both in a good steel, then the difference in cutting is going to be the geometry of the blade. That's the way it works, right? And so to dismiss edge geometry because some crusty one guy who's a first responder likes using a double-edged OTF sounds ridiculous to me. And then so one of my buddies who has been a first responder for a long time, has trained a lot of first responders, brought up the fact that if you're using a double-edged OTF to like cut seatbelts to get someone out of a vehicle, it is demonstrably the wrong tool for the job, and it's dangerous to use in environments like that. And even for extended periods of cutting difficult materials, it's not designed for that. It's not what it's supposed to be. So I'm going to do a video illustrating the differences, and I'm excited to do it because I think it's something people should understand. I love OTFs. I have a ton of fun with them. I think they're great. I really enjoy having one, at least in the collection. Right now I've got 3, which is kind of crazy for me. They don't always last very long, but they're exciting, they're fun, they're cool, they make cool sounds, and they're really fun to play with, and there's a lot that is very exciting about them, but they are not premier cutting tools. They're stabbing tools. If you start talking about ones that aren't double-edged, and you're talking about single-edge blades, it starts to get to be a better argument compared to other knives. But even then, I think there are inherent limitations on the platform for them being anything other than self-defense, like tactical knives. That's just I don't think Microtech is even hiding the ball and trying to say that this is designed to be the ultimate cutting tool. These are tactical knives. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and grab my drill thing, and we're going to try tossing the glass breaker replacement screw on here right now, because that's one thing that I've said as well as I've come to conclusions on former Microtechs that I've tried out is if I get another one and it's got a chance of being a keeper, it's going to have the glass breaker removed. So let me grab that tool. I'll be right back. All right, so I have my very crappy Black & Decker drill, don't judge me, and we are going to go ahead, take that out of here. And man, that's dirty in there. You'll see what I'm talking about because it's got that. And if you look at the shape of that, I've seen it work. I've seen it done. Kevin from Lefty EDC has done it on his so that he can reverse the clips. I've seen people, I want to say it's like Frankie Blades or something on Instagram recently, just like tightened down his OTF into it and was like drilling into a like wooden workbench with the blade. Crazy stuff. Anyways, I'm not going to be torture testing it with it, but I'm just going to throw this. This is just a little chunk of deerskin chamois that I got on Amazon. It was recommended to me for holding stuff into the jaws of my KME when I'm sharpening, and it works great for that. I've used it in that way before, and let's see how easy this is. Probably should have positioned my camera a little lower so you could see, but let's go tighter, not looser. Nope, I'm going looser. Alright, so from here, the knife is in. I'm going to try to do this by hand. I don't want to use the power. Yeah, it's super easy. Got that to come loose. Now these screws that I held up a second ago, I'll hold them up again in a moment. I got these screws literally from eBay because I was trying to find the Microtech replacement screws for this. And I could not. I found old listings on Blade HQ, and that was about it. It's the only place where I was able to find Microtech making these screws. And I wish that that was still an option because I'd love for it to be black and to match this, but I couldn't find them anywhere. So I went to eBay. I found a listing. I don't even know who it was. Maybe if I can re-find it, I'll share it. It may or may not be down below. But it came with two sizes. I think it was like $10. So one supposedly is for the bigger Microtechs. I'm going to see right after this if it'll fit my combat Troodon as well. And then this littler one I can see is the size that should in theory go on here. And it does. Great. And these are just Allen like button head screws. So let's see how this looks on here. Go ahead and set the clip back down on there. This probably would have been a good tabletop moment. I really wish this was a black screw. It looks so much better, but I just want to not have a glass breaker on there. Alright, so this is not tightened with a tool yet, but it totally fits. That works. And now there's no glass breaker back here. That feels comfortable in reverse grip to me. So I'm going to find an Allen head, or like an Allen key. I don't know, it's probably like a 3mm or something. It's relatively small. While I'm at it though, let's try, take this off. Let's try on the Combat Troodon as well. Yeah, I'm glad I used that chamois because there's no marks on this little guy. Come on. So I'll save this obviously in case I ever sell the Troodon or whatever. That way the next user can have it. But the only thing I can foresee myself swapping this one for is if I can find a black one. Or maybe at some point I'll even just like pull the screw out and rattle can it or something so it's at least temporarily black. I don't know. Alright, let's get this one in here now. Same thing, I'm going to put the chamois on it a little bit just to protect it from these jaws. Keep going loose when I mean to go tight. Alright, and hopefully this bigger screw that I've got here is the one that fits this one. So that's a serious weapon if you need it. Let's bring that in. Alright. Oh yeah, that was super easy too. I'm finding these aren't on here as tight as I maybe thought they would be. Yep. Oh yeah, perfect. It looks like this one is the bigger one. Cool. Oh, that's rad. I didn't realize the clip was coated even under that section too. Pretty rad. Again, we're left with just a hole back here. I think you're supposed to use this hole if you're trying to like spray WD-40 or some people use a certain kind of oil people keep telling me to use. And they say that that maybe will help the action to be looser on this one. I don't know, I feel like it's pretty dumb. I know the guy who bought this knife brand new, and he had the same problem with the action. So the fact that this action came out of the box that stiff to where I handed this knife to several buddies in a machine shop, some of whom were machinists, some of whom were knife makers and stuff. I had a few buddies try to disengage this lock with their thumb. One guy could do it, and he couldn't do it repeatedly. He could do it once, and then like an hour later he tried again. He could do it once, and he couldn't do it again. It's like way too stiff. Let's see if this... Yeah, that's the right screw. So this one we're going to toss onto here. Get that lined up. And it's kind of a bummer on this one, especially because I feel like the glass breaker is like designed so well to fit the... Why does that feel sketchy? To fit the kind of colorway of this knife. But I hate how far it sticks up off of the... Now that doesn't feel right. It's like stopping for some reason. Alright, I don't trust that. I'm not going to put this random screw that feels like it's getting stuck somewhere down there in the middle onto my knife. I'm just not comfortable. I don't want to... This is an aluminum material that it's going into. It'd be way too easy to like cross thread it if it is binding up. So this one we're going to keep the factory screw on. Probably shouldn't use power tools to put your screw on, but I'm just getting it started here with this. And then, yeah, I'm going to hand tighten from there. Okay. Let's make sure I'm as tight as I want to be. And then we'll loosen that off. Alright, so this one, we're going to keep the glass breaker on because it seems necessary. I thought it dug in for a second, but it looks like that's just like residue from the chamois. Alright, cool. Alright, so this one's keeping the glass breaker. This one, that screw fit. That seemed to go just fine to me. Again, wish it was black. That would be great. Maybe I'll find a solution for that. Temporary or otherwise. I literally might just spray paint it, and then it'll be black for a little bit, and I might have to reapply later, but I think it would look cooler if it was black to match everything else. So in the meantime, this knife just got a whole lot better in my opinion. That feels good in a reverse grip. That doesn't ruin the grip for me. It's a little rounded spot, but it's not harsh on my thumb at all. I can absolutely hold on to that. So cool, step one is done. I'll do the first impressions on that knife once I've had it in pocket and used it a little bit. As per my typical first impressions, I guess this became a long unboxing because I was working on the knife too. But yeah, thanks for checking it out with me, guys. As always, when I get something from Rivers Edge Cutlery, I'll make a point to link them down below. They are awesome. Some of the best in the business. Really cool dudes over there. And they're a knife store that I absolutely recommend purchasing from, whether you happen to be close to them locally, which I'm not, or online. They're fantastic. So rec will be linked down below. This has been my unboxing of the Microtech Troodon double-edged. All right, see you on the next one.